There are places on this earth that just touch your heart in a profound way, and the Mount Fuji area turned out to be one of them for me. This is a story about foggy mornings, still waters, and that moment when you look up and there she is. Join me in Kawaguchiko, where nature feels sacred and the scenery is simply unforgettable. I picked the Kawaguchiko area as my base around Mount Fuji, and to get there I took the Fuji excursion train from Shinjuku Station in Tokyo. All seats on this train are reserved, so to be on the safe side, I booked mine ahead of time on Klook. You can also get there by bus, but I thought a train ride sounded more romantic. There is just something about taking a train that I love. It puts you in a certain mood. You pass by beautiful countryside landscapes. It is just something different. During the ride, I listened to an audiobook and it almost put me in a meditative state. I have to say, I was very lucky to be able to see Fuji in its full glory, which is considered a rare thing. It is known to hide behind clouds. Locals even say, you don't chase Fuji. Fuji lets you see her when she wants. It makes those glimpses feel like a gift. Its visibility is highly dependent on weather conditions, and it's only visible on clear days when the skies are bright and the air is crisp, like during the winter month. I visited in mid-May, so I was really hoping and visualizing that things would align and I would get to see her. And I'm beyond grateful that Fuji-san showed herself to me. It was one of those moments when you've really been hoping for something to go your way, and when it finally does, you're just in awe. I truly felt like a child in that moment, unable to put my feelings into words. Once I arrived at Kawaguchiko Station, I was picked up by my hotel's shuttle bus, which took me straight to the hotel. I dropped off my bags and I didn't want to waste even a minute. I immediately left to explore the town. I passed by the iconic Lawson with Mount Fuji views, but boy oh boy was it crowded. There was a very long line of people waiting to take a photograph. When Mount Fuji is visible, no matter where you go, you will see it. So I just walked around and took it all in. Even though there were many people near the station and Lawson, the area itself wasn't crowded at all once you stepped away from the hustle and bustle. I found it very calming walking through those streets, watching people work their land, and listening to the sound of nature all around. I stayed right on Lake Kawaguchi, and I can say it was absolutely worth it. There was also an observation deck at my hotel, and surprisingly, even though the hotel was full, there were almost always no people up there, so I had it all to myself. Mount Fuji, or Fuji-san, isn't just a mountain. It's a spiritual symbol deeply woven into the country's identity, art and soul. For centuries, Fuji has been sacred in both Shinto and Buddhist traditions. Pilgrims have climbed it seeking enlightenment, viewing the ascent as a metaphor for life's spiritual journey. It is also known that in ancient times, poets and monks didn't climb it, they circled it. The act of walking around the base was considered a more sacred form of devotion called Fujiko. It wasn't about reaching the top, but about spiritual purification through movement. Not only is Fuji Japan's tallest peak, standing at 3,776 meters, but it's also a perfectly shaped, active stratovolcano which last erupted in 1707 during the Edo period. Standing here and seeing her in her full glory reminded me of my time in La Fortuna, Costa Rica, where I stayed right at the foot of Arenal, which is also an active volcano. It's interesting how places located in completely different parts of the world can give you the same feeling. I can't quite describe it, but it is something very unique. You feel this immense respect for Mother Nature, and you just want to treat her as best you can, with the honor and respect she deserves. While sitting in the hotel lobby and sipping on a cup of tea, I really enjoyed flipping through the pages of a book I found on the bookstand. It was about Japanese paintings, and I found them incredibly beautiful, especially the choice of colors used. And when I think of Japan in terms of colors, my mind always goes to muted, calming tones, and vermilion, of course. Vermilion sits between red and orange on the color spectrum, leaning more toward the red side. It's a vibrant color, often described as fiery and striking, evoking passion, energy, and power. I like noticing the colors present in nature in a particular place, and then seeing how people implement them in their homes, interior design, and of course in their art. It's fascinating how much one can learn by simply observing nature in all its forms. I like how it sometimes repeats itself, how in two completely different places you might find the same species of plant, but everything around it is so different. I like noticing those similarities and making a mental note of the plants I see for the first time. It's interesting how at times this place also reminded me of Ushuaia in Argentina, the end of the world city. I will leave a link to both my Ushuaia and Arenal videos in the description. Something I really love is waking up early and observing the world around me in silence. Looking at this dramatic landscape was something I couldn't get enough of. The dense fog covering the mountain tops looked like smoke rising from volcanoes, and those different shades of green, they had me glued to the window for quite some time. Having this desk in the room with that lake view made me feel like some sort of writer, someone who's distanced themselves from the world to focus on their thoughts and write something beautiful. They gave me a yukata, traditional Japanese loungewear that you can wear around the hotel grounds, and I thought, why not? Why not try it? And I have to say, I enjoyed it. It's really comfortable. So, time for breakfast, my favorite meal of the day. If you watched any of my videos, you probably already know that this is how my breakfast plate usually looks. Even though this morning it was almost impossible to see the mountain, I hoped to catch a glimpse of it here and there as the clouds passed. the day was cloudy and I knew it probably wouldn't clear up, I still decided to head to Mount Fuji's 5th station. It stands at 2,300 meters, right where the tree line ends and the bare volcanic slopes begin. It is also the highest point you can reach by car or bus. During the ride, you will notice the landscapes shift dramatically. Below is lush forest, but above, the world grows harsher, quieter, more volcanic. It feels like crossing into another realm. Here you're above the clouds, and it is where you truly understand why people call Fuji Japan's rooftop. It was freezing cold at this altitude and also very windy. Thankfully, there were small shops selling hot chocolate, which I, of course, had to get. This summit is actually a crater and you can walk around it. People say that in clear weather it feels like walking on the edge of the sky. You can even send a postcard from the summit. There is a tiny post office at the top, open only during climbing season, which runs from July to early September, when the snow has melted. After returning to Kawaguchiko Station a couple of hours later, I hopped on another bus that took me to Oshino Hakkai, a traditional Japanese village with preserved thatch-roofed homes, small wooden shrines, and local crafts. The village is known for its crystal clear ponds fed by snowmelt from Mount Fuji. The water takes decades to filter through layers of lava and stone, and by the time it surfaces here, it's said to be pure, icy, and sacred. The ponds, often filled with koi fish or moss, reflect the sky. The wind is soft, and Fuji sometimes appears in the distance, quietly watching. Alright guys, I'm back at Kawaguchiko Station, which honestly feels more like a film set than a transit point. By the way, this train on display outside the station is the Mo No. 1, one of the earliest electric trains of the Fuji Kyuko line. It's a cherished piece of local history, symbolizing the region's transportation heritage and its connection to the scenic beauty of Kawaguchiko, the most accessible and developed of 5 lake towns around Mount Fuji. After returning to the hotel, I decided to spend the rest of the day walking around the lake. Centuries ago, spiritual pilgrims would gather here before ascending Fuji. They performed ritual purifications in the lake, believing its water carried the mountain's energy. Today, the spiritual aura remains, subtle but present, especially if you sit quietly by the water. Hey guys, good morning. This is my last day here and there was one more thing I wanted to do, and that's visit Chureito Pagoda. To get to the top, you have to climb over 400 stone steps through the forest. It felt like a quiet meditation, almost like a mini pilgrimage. I knew it was going to be crowded there. I mean, it's one of the must-see spots in the area. I tried to get there relatively early, but there were already many people. Still, that's okay. I could enjoy the views and soak in the atmosphere. And just like that, my time here has come to an end. To say I fell in love with Fuji is an understatement. It's a place I'd want to return to, the views I'd want to see again, the atmosphere I'd want to experience once more. Arigatou gozaimasu. Mount Fuji 100% falls into my list of favorite places in the world now. There is something truly special about this one, and I hope I managed to convey that energy to you through this video. In the afternoon, I took the Fuji excursion train back to Shinjuku Station in Tokyo. From there, I boarded a romance car all the way to Hakone, a hot springs town in the mountains. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to come here, or maybe you simply learned something new. Either way, thank you for being part of my journey and for sharing these experiences with me. I am grateful for you. So then, I'll see you in Hakone.